Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and on this Throwback Thursday, we're going back to some candied pecans. Throwback Thursdays is a new series where I revisit older videos and recipes, ones that probably came before most of you were a subscriber. I answer any frequently asked questions, and I share tips, tricks, and lessons learned since I recorded this originally. The recipes that I feature will be recipes that I'm proud of, and the videos maybe not so proud of. And certainly today's video falls into both of those categories. It is candied pecans. This is one of my earliest videos. This is almost 2 years old, and I think at the time it was recorded, I may have had 1,000 subscribers. Some of the things that popped out at me when I watched this again, first of all, is how much grayer I have gotten in the last 2 years. I also found that my speech was really slow in this video. This is one of those videos that if you decided to play back at 1.5 times speed, it would not hurt my feelings at all. Why don't we start with some of the lessons learned? First of all, I think this recipe was overly complicated, both in the method and in some of the ingredients. In terms of method, it's really not necessary to mix your dry ingredients, the sweeteners, in its own Ziploc bag. If I were filming the video again, I would have measured out the 4 cups of pecans, put those in a Ziploc bag, and then using that 4-cup measuring cup, I would have just mixed together my sweeteners. I have also found that the frothier you get your egg white when you whisk it, the better in terms of overall crispness. And I still recommend using a Ziploc bag for massaging that egg white around your pecans, and then dump in your sweeteners, shake it around, mix it up. So 1 bag instead of 2, a little less wasteful. The other thing that I noticed after shooting that video is that my oven was out of calibration, and I will include a link to the oven calibration video right up there. So do not bake at 250 degrees, bake at 275. If you're metric, that is 135 degrees Celsius. Also, this video predates when I was giving metric measurements for weight. I will update my website and the recipe out there to include that information. And I will link to the recipe, the printable recipe, down below in the description, both on this video and on the original video. The biggest change, though, to the video is in terms of the sweeteners that are used. I've gotten all kinds of questions from people asking why, when they used a certain blend of sweeteners, did they not get the crispy pecans. I wanted to simplify this recipe and get us down to 2 sweeteners rather than 4. So I've done a number of test runs on these pecans, and I'm about to show you what I've discovered. For my first trial, I used for my brown sugar substitute, Lakanto Golden, which is largely erythritol with a little bit of monk fruit in it. For my white sweetener, I used Bocha Sweet. Oh, that's another thing in that old video. I pronounced it Boca Sweet. I've subsequently found out it's Bocha Sweet. So let's try out one of these. It took overnight after cooking this particular variation for these to kind of crisp up. I mean, they're dry now, at least. Not crunchy, though. And of course, now that I'm videoing, my neighbor decides to mow. Seems to me this happened to Wes out on highfalutin low carb at least once or twice. So in that one, it tastes good, it's dry, it's not sticky anymore. Like I said, it did have to go overnight out on the countertop to fully dry out. But it doesn't have that crispy, candy, almost shell type exterior that I'm looking for. The same type that you would get if you bought a bag of these at the fair. For my second batch, for my brown sugar, I used Sucrin Gold, which again is, I think, erythritol. And then I used allulose. I used the Splenda blend of allulose. And these, despite sitting out for 2 days now, are still a little bit sticky, a little tacky. In terms of the taste, definitely more of a caramelized flavor on these. And I think that really comes from the allulose because that browns at a very low temperature. Again, I'm missing that crispy exterior that I like on candied pecans. For the final trial, I used Swerve Brown, which is my favorite brown sugar substitute. It really has that texture of brown sugar, which I like, sort of moist. And then for the white sugar substitute, I used Purecane, which I've done a review of and will link to right up here. Purecane is also predominantly erythritol, but I found that it doesn't have that cooling effect as much as some other brands. And you can see and hear that these are crisp. You'll probably hear this when I bite into it. That is hands down the winner. It is the winner on texture. and it is the winner on taste. Even though the quantities of sweetener used are the exact same across all three of those, this is definitely the sweetest of the three. So now that you've got them made, the other question that I get most often is, how do you store these? I put them in a Ziploc bag, and then I add a desiccant packet. I use these things all the time. I love them. I put them in anything I want to keep dry, whether it's my cracker recipes, whether it's these candied pecans, or my toffied almonds, or my pork rind panko / pig flour, or my keto barbecue rub. These things are great. They don't cost much money. I'll link to them down below in the description. In terms of shelf life, I can guarantee you that you and your family will eat these before they get remotely stale, especially if you're using one of those desiccant packets. So if you enjoy Throwback Thursdays, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then click the bell to turn on all notifications. And in the meanwhile, I'm gonna put that original video right up here so you can watch it now. Well, after I say, thanks for watching.